Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for being here, taking a little bit of time out of your day. I know how hard it can be sometimes to just squeeze in extra things when you've already got so stinking much on your plate. I know that I'm seeing a ton of people already headed back to school, so you might be in a position that you're juggling that, or you might be getting ready for back to school amongst all the other fair life, summertime things that you have going on. Thank you so much for taking some time to hang out with us a little bit today and talk about Happy Juice and how you can get the most out of it. Hey, I have goals for you. Really simple. Two things. I hope one, that you'll leave today knowing exactly how to mix and take your happy juice so that you can go ahead and get the best result. But I also hope that you're going to walk away with tools to live out the summer of happy today and then beyond today, right? We don't just want this to be a one-off experience where you're like, wow, that was really great. Yay, I loved it. And then back to the doldrums of life. The whole point of this, right? And what we're going to talk around Happy Juice is how can we elevate every area of our life, right? How can we take some simple steps to get into action so that everything just feels better, gets better, and you're able to handle things better? So I do want to remind you, we've got a drawing at the end of today's session. So stick around. We're going to do a drawing for some free product at the end of today's session. So you won't want to go anywhere for that. Okay. Before we dive into mixing Happy Juice and all things Happy Juice, I need to take a moment to introduce myself. My name is Brandy Zuger. I'm, again, so thankful that you're here. And this is a little bit about me on the slide, right? And there's a lot of things, right? I know we can all be really unique and have a lot of fun qualities. I wear a lot of hats, as we all do. I'm a working mom, so I work as a science and engineering consultant for a national laboratory. I'm a self-proclaimed science nerd, which really pairs excellent with my day job and then my side passion to really talk about gut health and mental wellness. I'm crunchy. I'm a nature lover. I love to get my toes in the grass and hike in the mountains and be outside as much as I can. I am proudly rural raised. I am so proud of my farming background and where I come from, but I can enjoy a night out in the city just as much as the next person. I'm also a certified mental wellness coach. So what that means is I've taken some steps to go ahead and really dive into the training around what really is behind how we can thrive in life and feel our best. And I'm just super passionate about sharing that. I'm also really passionate about equipping moms and families for more joy. So this is a little bit about me. I'd love for you to drop in the chat box if you don't mind taking a second. So there's 6 things up there. If any of those 6 things resonate with you, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I'd love to know how many that you also align with, right? If you're rural raised, you're a full-time working mom, maybe you're a science nerd, give me that number if there's a couple of those that you align with as well. I always think it's fun to see where we have connections. All right, we're going to talk about mixing Happy Juice. We're going to get to that, about those products that hopefully you have in the mail, but don't worry, if they haven't quite arrived in the mail, you're going to know exactly what to do with them after today's call. But I feel like it's really important before we just dive straight into mixing things, to talk a little bit about like why, right? Why Happy Juice and what's the purpose of all this? I'm sure the person that invited you, you may or may not have been watching them for a while, seeing them talk about Happy Juice. And I want to share with you a little bit about my story because I feel like my story, it's my own, but it's just all too common in what we experience. And now that I can reflect back and look back, I realize that so many of the things that I just thought were like, mom life, this is just how moms feel. Like I'm doing it right. This is what all we moms struggle with. I realize now that that was really common, but it doesn't have to be common. Just because everybody else is experiencing doesn't mean it's normal. And my light bulb really came back in 2020. So let me just share a little bit so you can have that. So for a huge chunk of my life, and again, I want to see your hands raised in the chat box as we start to talk about these things. As a young woman, we have all of these things that we assume create this great life, right? We're going to get married and we're probably going to have kids and we're probably working on getting our bodies healthy and we want to show up and be a provider and we want to add some sort of creative genius to this world. And we have all these pieces to this puzzle that we have decided to put together to really create this wonderful and like happy, fulfilled life. One thing I realized that I was stuck in, that I can look back now and realize was something that didn't need to be a part of my life, was how prevalent this cycle of despair was in my life. And I know I've titled it this dramatic thing, but again, I think that I wasn't alone in this. Actually, I know that I wasn't alone in this, is that for so much of my life, and especially as I moved into motherhood, I was, going to the job because that's what I needed to go to. Or maybe if you're a stay-at-home mom and you're not working out of the home, it's wake up and take care of the kids, because that is a job. Like, I honor that as that is a full-time job. I was a stay-at-home mom before I went back to work, and that is such a big job. And maybe we're trying to move our body for our health and we're doing these pieces. I'm going to, for example, use this cycle of despair. What I experienced in my health journey is, for so long, right, I thought, oh, I need to be trim, I need to work out, I'm going to take care of my body. But what oftentimes happened is, through the days, I would move on setting a goal for myself. And I'd set this goal for how I wanted to show up and how I wanted to feel, diet, say, or health, and all those pieces of those puzzles. I would go hard for a week or 2 weeks, maybe a month if I was lucky. I want to give a little bit of background, because I have a personal mental wellness and health journey that I think is super familiar to so many women everywhere. And it really was this evolution of moving through my young adult life into motherhood. And once I got into motherhood, you all know, if you're a mom, or if you're maybe not a mom yourself, or you're someone that knows folks with kids, right? It's so easy for us to start to take on all these different hats and roles, and we pour into others, and we sometimes forget to pour into ourselves. But here's the funny thing about how we are as women, right? As women, even though we're pouring into others, we generally still have this long, lingering checklist of things that we think we should be doing. I need to be eating more greens. Okay, I know I need to do that. Oh, yep, I need to make sure all of these tasks are taken care of, this checklist of things I need to do. Oh, yep, I need to make sure I need to be walking and exercising, and I've got to get that in because we've got to keep this body trim and fit, right? And you're trying to take care of others, and you're pouring into them, and you're maybe feeling guilt and shame for all these things that you're juggling that you're not doing. And this can create this sense of overwhelm, and really this horrible sense of burden that can happen. And this was my story, right? So for me, as I entered into motherhood, I was trying to juggle a career. I had 2 small young children. I hadn't been married very long before we had babies, so I was still really navigating my marriage at that time. And there were all these other pieces that I just noted, these lingering thoughts of how I thought I needed to be showing up, just rotating in my brain. And as I was looking around, I was seeing all these other moms having the same experience as me, right? They're trying to eat well, and they're trying to show up, and they're trying to do their best, but we just all felt like we were failing. We felt overwhelmed, and we felt frustrated, and we were irritable, but we didn't really know why we were irritable. And we beat ourselves up because we didn't want to be irritable, and we're hollering at our kids or frustrated with our husbands. And it was this cycle of despair, which is what on the screen right now, right? Where you are going through this process of, you identify, right? You identify this shame and guilt. Oh, I should be showing up for my workouts. I'm going to do something, right? So you have this massive shift in change. You're like, all right, you know what? I feel all this shame and guilt around how I'm treating my body, and I want to feel better, and I'm sick and tired of this. So massive shift. I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to start this diet. I'm going to eat greens today. I'm doing veggies, no sugar. I'm cutting out sugar for sure. That was always my big thing, right? Like, I'm done with sugar. I know it's bad. It makes me feel awful. And then you're going to take this massive change. But then somewhere along the line, the trigger happens, right? And whatever it is, right? Maybe all of a sudden your kids are just too much to handle, and you're like, whatever, not dealing with it. You go into your old cycle, right? I'm going to have a sleeve of Oreos. Or you go out with friends and you say, oh, I'm eating healthy, I'm not going to have anything. And then you have that one drink, which then leads to some chips and salsa. And all of a sudden you're like, forget it. All is lost. You start over, right? And then you have that temporary relief, right? You indulge in that trigger. You have that temporary relief where you're like, you know what? It's fine. It's not a big deal. I just needed that sleeve of Oreos because I was overwhelmed. I'll start anew tomorrow. But here's the thing, right? As mothers, in the way that our minds work as women, we go back into that negative consequence where we get so frustrated with ourselves that it goes right back to shame and guilt. And I'm going to imagine that I talk about this. One of my biggest cycles of despair was in my fitness, my physical fitness, and the mental mindset I had around that. But I will tell you what, as I become a mother, it started to morph into how I talk to in my mood with the children, right? Like, I had kids at home, and I had decided to stay at home with my kids. And I would have shame and guilt for the fact that I was just constantly, will you freaking leave me alone? Like I was so just annoyed by how my kids were constantly needing things. So then I have a massive shift. I'm going to change. I'm going to be this mother, right? I don't want to be like that. But then something would happen that would put me over the edge, right? And the cycle continues. And I'm going to imagine that you probably somewhere, someplace have this frustration, this cycle of despair that, again, the name might seem a little dramatic, but it can be frustrating, right? That's why I'm sure you're all here is, okay, we see that there's a way to get out of this cycle, but what freaking is that? That's how I always felt. I was like, man, I'm so frustrated, but I know there's got to be a way to get out of this cycle of despair. So it's worth talking about really quickly, right? In that cycle of despair, one of those missing pieces in there, right, is really that thriving piece, right? You're surviving when you're in the cycle of despair, right? You're getting by, you're on the wagon, off the wagon, right? I'm sure that's something that is a mentality or a phrase that you've often heard is, I'm going to get back on the wagon, but I fell back off the wagon, and you beat yourself up, right? When you're in that cycle, it's really just surviving. You're getting by, you're moving forward, but oftentimes it also feels like you're taking just as many steps back. And it can be so agitating and irritating because maybe you even know what to do. That's the way I always felt. I'm like, I know what to do. Why can't I do that? Why can't I show up with the mood and attitude as the mom I thought I would be? Right? I was like, I'm gonna be the coolest mom ever. I'm gonna be this like Pinterest mom. And I was not that Pinterest mom. And that can be so frustrating. Happy plays such a critical role in that because we actually really do have these hormones that help us show up as our best selves, right? Happy and fulfilled and with nice level moods and this ability to handle stress. And happy really is this subjective well-being, right? Happy is going to look different for all of us, right? Your happy is going to look a little different than my happy is going to look a little different than Sarah's happy. But it really is this overall, like, how satisfied are you with your life? And I think that's such a powerful question to really pause and ask yourself is on this scale, like, how satisfied am I with life, right? With how things are going and how much positive or negative emotion you might tend to feel. For me, right, when I can think about happy, and it's really clear what happy is to me now, previously, right, in 2020, when I was really struggling, what I would have defined happy as would have looked a little different because I didn't even know now what I feel could be the result of happiness. And it's really showing up for myself. It's showing up for my family with joy and gratitude and being able to nourish my mind and my body and soul so I can show up my best self. And I'm sure that you can start to think of what does that happy look like for you? Here's where happy juice comes into play with this because it really is scientific. I think it's so powerful, right? We're going to talk about mixing your happy juice and all the things that you're going to do. There's probably an array of enjoyable, tasty, yummy beverages that you've enjoyed before. Maybe you've been a Diet Coke fan or a Red Bull fan. Maybe you're a coffee person that you love your flavored coffee and things like that, or numerous other flavored drinks that are out there. Here's the cool thing about happy juice, right? It's this delicious, tasty flavored drink, but it's so much more powerful than that because the three products together give you this absolutely powerful result to go from just surviving to truly thriving in your life. So you receive two of the products. There's one product, it's called Mentabiotics. It comes in the jar. You can see it there on your screen in that white jar with the gray lid. We did not send that. That one actually doesn't provide the flavor in it, but it does provide some really powerful benefits. But we gave you the two products because they're easy to ship. We couldn't give you the whole jar. So these two are easy to mail. And these are actually what gives it the taste. And you're still able to really reap some incredible benefits just trying this one-day samples. Mentabiotics, starting there and working our way back, right? Mentabiotics is going to really target your serotonin and GABA for mood and calmness, right? What we call stress resiliency. Stress resiliency is really the ability for your body, your mood, even just how your immune system, right? Those internal systems, that hormone signaling handles stress. And what's really crazy about our world today and how we think about stress is I see this all the time when I talk with people. My husband was one of these examples where we have so much, I'm going to call it like minor trigger stress. We have so much minor trigger stress that most of us are really actually dealing with a greater load of stress than we might even realize. But to us, until we get in, and I'm thinking of this like scale, that's why I'm moving my hands this way, until we really get in this like red paint of, oh, my heart is racing. If you've ever felt like your gut is churning before where you're like, oh, I'm just so stressed out. I don't know what the next choice is. Oh, I'm nervous. we don't oftentimes say we are stressed until our gut is churning, anxiety has really hit us, our heart is beating, our chest hurts, we've got tension in our neck, because Americans as a whole feel so much what we would call just general stress on a daily basis that we live through and push through a lot of those minor stresses regularly. What I'm here to tell you is it doesn't have to feel that way, right? You can bring your body down and you're going to see incredible results in your gut, in your focus, in your energy, in your mood when you take your body out of that stress zone. And Mentabiotic is the product that's going to really help coordinate those internal efforts to do that. The other product is energy. So you did receive energy. And what this is, it is going to help for focus, so mental energy and physical energy. So if you've ever taken coffee or a Red Bull or an energy drink or a pre-workout, you can probably relate to the experience. I can always very clearly recall what this feeling feels like when I drink too much coffee on an empty stomach, right? If you've ever done that, you're like, I can do all the things. Like you're jittery and you're moving really quickly and your brain is firing really fast, but it's not what I would call true focus. You're going 100 miles an hour, you're energized technically, but it's not focused and it's not calm. What energy is really going to help you do is get into that almost what we would call the zone mode, right? Where you're like, you're calm, you're focused, you're clear, you know what you need to get to, and you're able to actually focus on that, also giving you that physical energy as well. And then Edge is the other product you received. And so Edge is going to help with your dopamine for motivation and for drive. So these three things together collectively, we call them Happy Juice because it really does get at these three key areas that I feel like, especially for women, we can feel so strongly attached to, of what it feels like to be overwhelmed, doing too much. We can't stay focused, right? We're wore down at the end of the day. Our mood is shot. Our emotions are in high drive. And this product bundle, right, gets at absolutely all of those. So in all of them, when you take these, you're going to increase your subjective well-being, which essentially means you're going to increase your happiness, right? You're going to increase your joy, which scientifically, to me, as a science nerd, I could go so much farther into all of the ins and outs and how this works, but just trust me, it is freaking cool because it's happening on the inside, right? It's not just this external, oh, I enjoyed my Diet Coke and that was a pick-me-up because my day sucks, right? You're going to drink Happy Juice and you're going to be like, oh, I'm going to be better prepared to make every day forward less sucky in general. It's pretty powerful. So what that really can feel like, and we talked about some of these, is that you're just able to handle things better, right? If you've ever, and I can think again very distinctly of times that I've been home with my kids and I just have not handled, right? When I'm tired and it's been a long day, you don't handle that. You probably know what that feels like. Happy Juice is going to give your body the tools it needs to actually handle that in a different way. You're not going to have to push through. You're going to be prepared to handle that. It's going to give you that alert in the zone feeling, which we talked about. It's also going to decrease your irritability and give you that improved mood state, which is really powerful for showing up the way you want to show up, and that all day physical and mental energy. So let's talk a little bit and get to the mixology. So you received your Happy Juice, the Energy and the Edge, the two products together. It actually really couldn't be any simpler to mix your Happy Juice every single day. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab a glass. I like mine with about 16 to 20 ounces of water, but play around with it. And this is the fun part when you get your products is as you join as a customer, you're going to be able to have all these supplies to try with. Do I want to take it first thing in the morning? Do I want to take it mid-morning? Am I going to take it with my lunch? Sometimes you might even find that you want to take it in the afternoon. And all you're going to do is you're going to cut the tops off these two products and you're just going to dump them in that 16 to 20 ounces of water. You're going to shake it up, stir it up, and go ahead and drink it. We've got 4 different flavors. So 2 different flavors of Energy and 2 different flavors of Edge. I will tell you right now, because we are experiencing some major momentum and virality, really. Like the Happy Juice products are having their viral moment in the sun. There's a few flavors that are out of stock currently, but they'll be coming back soon. But when you order your products, you just got your little Happy Juice in the mail with your invitation card. But when you actually order your products, they come in this beautiful box. And it's got all the instructions that you could need. This box is for Watermelon Edge. My Watermelon Edge is actually down in my kitchen right now because I drank it this morning. But you've got your Edge, your Mentabiotics, and your Watermelon, or your Energy, excuse me. Energy, your Mentabiotics, and your Edge. And then it gives you all the instructions you need to mix them up. When you order the grape flavor, it comes in a similar box to this as well. So you've got everything at your fingertips. The fun thing about these flavors is you really can mix and match them to whatever flavor combo that you like. When I started, watermelon and pomegranate lime was my jam. This summer, I have moved on to grape and the dragon fruit, and I am obsessed with it right now. It's literally, it was a couple months ago, I poured myself a glass, and it's like I've tasted this for the very first time. It's just so stinking delicious. But I want to just remind you again, the fun thing about this is that this is a tool in your toolkit. Every now and then, I have someone that comes to Happy Juice Happy Hour, and when I follow up with them later, they're like, oh, I still haven't tried it yet. I'm waiting for the right time. I just talked with someone yesterday, and it's been literally 3 weeks, and I'm like, what do you think? And she's, oh, I haven't tried it yet. And I'm like, what are you waiting for? Here's the thing. I want to challenge you tomorrow. And if you don't have your products, the day after you get them in the mail, because here's the thing about Happy Juice. There's literally no right or wrong way to take it. There is no right or wrong way to take it. There's no perfect time. Again, we do this as women sometimes where we're like, oh, like tomorrow I'm going to start my diet, so I'll take my Happy Juice when I do that. None of that, right? This is life support, right? This is going to help you go into that thriving mode, and it's going to help you feel so incredible. And we have so many people that reach out afterwards and say, this is the line I get probably most often is, I don't know if it's the Happy Juice or not, but I feel XYZ amazing. And it's the Happy Juice, right? These products are designed to do exactly that. So I want to encourage you that as soon as you get this, pour yourself a glass, try it out. And then whoever invited you to this call, follow up with them. Let them know what you think, because we are so rooting for you and we want to help you feel your best. We just want to help you feel absolutely incredible. So I shared a few little testimonials on the screen of these are just some of our customers that have shared with their experience before and how incredible the products have just made a difference in their lives. And what's so cool is a lot of times, right, I get notes like, I don't know if it's the Happy Juice, but I slept through the night last night for the first time in months. And I'm like, it's the Happy Juice, right? Bowel movements are a piece of it. Oftentimes I hear people having those experiences where they're like, oh my gosh, like I normally have like really irritable bowels and that's normal. I'm like, yes, sister, because here's the thing. When you target your gut in this way, and when you start to be able to give your body the tools that it needs to be resilient in the midst of stress, because here's the thing, I say this all the time, life is gonna life. Life is gonna life. But what this is gonna do is going to equip you to handle life when it starts to life. Right? So that regardless of what things throw at you, you're going to have the resiliency to handle it better. Your mood's going to be better. Your focus is going to be better. You're going to have energy all day, and the results are compounding. So that's the other incredible thing, that as you take this, right, you're going to just have this 1-day sample. But as you join and you try this as a customer and you're using this for 30, 60, 90 days, the results are going to compound and continue to improve, right? So the experience that you have in the first week is not the experience you're going to have 4, 6, 9 weeks from now. It's going to keep getting better to the point that you're probably going to reflect back and you're going to be like, I didn't know how crappy I actually felt until I realized how much better that I could feel. So this is my very last slide, and then we're going to draw for some free product. Everything, like I said, comes in a really amazing box. So here's the deal. We have got, for the next 48 hours, we've got some incredible promos going on when you bundle some products, and you can bundle these products that are in this box, right? Talk to the person that invited you as you're sitting here and thinking about trying your Happy Juice and getting excited about it. When you go ahead and try your products, and I know that you're going to love them and just be obsessed with things that you're going to have of that clarity and improvement, that focus, or if take it tomorrow and you sleep through the night, follow up with the person that invited you, because they're going to be able to help you get the most out of grabbing these products and then any additional products that you may or may not have been looking at. Again, thank you so much for being here.